I'm Ken, and you're watching Kilt Can Cook, the Scottish cooking channel that encourages young men and women to have the confidence and competence they need to conquer the kitchen. And you're watching our special football special. These are not football paraphernalia. It's a baseball mitt and a baseball. I know the difference. I also don't have a football. But, well, that's the great thing about sports, you know. Anybody can participate. Now, not everybody is good at it. For instance, I am not good at football. I am not particularly good at baseball. But I can... For the next several episodes, we're going to be cooking special tailgating foods in case you're ever at a potluck or you're hosting a party and you want to impress your friends with your cooking expertise. Today, we're going to start with a mini meatball sub slider. Slider. That's how you throw a baseball, right?
Alright, so we're going to want 1 pound of beef, 1 pound of ground mild Italian sausage, 2 cans of tomato sauce, a bunch of garlic, some Italian seasonings and a couple of bay leaves, a package of thin provolone cheese, and a package of generic sweet rolls. Now first we'll combine our meats. Do not forget, I can foolishly handle a knife because I'm an expert. I do not recommend doing this yourself unless you're suicidal. Even then, you probably shouldn't kill yourself. As with almost every meal you do, add a bunch of kosher salt. As I said before, do not try these recipes if your doctor forbids tasty foods. Add a tablespoon of garlic and then mix everything together with your hands. I kind of feel like this should go without saying, but make sure your hands are clean first. Because I'm assuming that you're going to be mining nose gold before you cook, and you don't want to get your boogies into your food that your friends will eat. We'll be rolling balls of meat in about, roughly this size. Coat your pan with way too much oil and just crank that heat up. As time passes, make your meatballs, and then just add them into the oil as you cook them. Plop. Be careful as you drop each ball into the boiling hot oil, because you can burn yourself far too easily, especially if you're a bit of a numpty, like me. Turn your heat down a wee bit, and wash your hands thoroughly. With soap, please. Take your spatula and then flip each meatball. Be careful because the hot oil often splatters, and it can burn you. While you wait for those to cook, you might as well pre-roll your meatballs to save some time. Turn your meatballs and scorch the remaining pink parts. And after those are all flipped, we're going to finish creating our meatballs with our remaining meat. It doesn't take too long. But after you're done, make sure you wash your hands again, because raw meat will contaminate everything and everyone you care about, and it will kill them all. Now turn it again because we want our meat to be brown, not black, not burnt, alright? Oh, now you can see how the meat should look when it's ready to pull off the heat. Mostly brown with a wee bit of grey. That's perfect. Pull your meat off the heat and stick it into a bowl. Be careful, you don't want to splatter it. Add some more oil to the pan. Don't worry, it should heat up quite quickly. And we're going to add the rest of our meatballs at this time. I can't stress it enough. Don't forget to wash your hands. If you have to die of anything, it's best to not die of a gastrointestinal disease. This is some meatballs cooking. So I hear there's a football team from New England. What state is that? And why do you want a New England? Wasn't Old England bad enough? Oh well, you know what? I'm going to root for a team that comes from a place that rains as much as it does in Scotland. That's right, the Seattle Seahawks. Like all industrial factories and nuclear power plants, you have to solve the problem of what to do with your toxic chemicals. You cannot pour the grease down the drain because that will clog. You cannot pour it into the rubbish bin because it'll set the rubbish aflame. Your best bet is to drain the liquid into a tin can, let that cool, and then eventually stick that into the freezer. Try to get a tin big enough so that you can just pour the grease directly into it like I'm doing here. Very nice. Now take some paper towels, enough to not burn yourself, and just get the rest of that grease up and toss it in the bin. Set that aside, and now it's time to make our marinara sauce. What is that stupid can opener? I can never find it. Oh, here it is. Alright, so open your tin, but leave a bit of the lid still attached. Otherwise, you've got yourself a razor-sharp, jagged piece of metal wandering about all willy-nilly. Do the same with the other tin of sauce. Open the lid, leave a bit still attached, and pour it in. Now, I'm going to show you a special trick that I learned from my ma. Take a half cup of water and pour it into one of your tins. Now, we're just going to pour the liquid back and forth between those tins. Eventually, you'll get all the tomato sauce that was clinging to the sides and the bottom, and then just pour that into the rest of the sauce. Tuck the lids into the can, and just toss those out. Now, I like to add a tablespoon of Italian seasoning, which is just thyme, rosemary, oregano, sage, and marjoram. But we're also going to add a couple of bay leaves, but be careful not to eat them. They're very tasty what they do to the sauce, but they themselves might be poisonous. Of course, we're going to add more salt and garlic. The health benefits from the garlic should counteract the salt, or something, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. You probably shouldn't take any health advice from me. In fact, that's a bit of a life lesson you should learn. Don't take health advice from people that don't have MDs. After about 20 minutes of letting that simmer, your sauce should probably look like boiling lava. Lovely. It's the perfect time to add your meatballs into the sauce. You can either do it carefully, or you can do it efficiently. I'll let you choose. I don't particularly care what you do. Just don't hurt yourself. Make sure each meatball is thoroughly coated. And then just let it sit for another 10 minutes on low heat. And then you're ready to serve. When you use sweetbread as your meat delivery vehicle, your food has to be salty enough to keep the sweet in balance. And I think we've done just that. Take some provolone and cover your meatballs, and it should be hot enough that it will melt. And now, you're ready to eat.
Well, that's our show. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I sure did. And I hope these wee bairns help you next time you have to go to a potluck or host your own party wherein you need to have little appetizers. Now, excuse me. It's time for me to watch some football. It's time for me to eat some good food. And it's time for me to cheer on the downfall of the New England Patriots. You're watching Kilt Can Cook. The Scottish cooking channel encourages young men and women to have the confidence and competence they need to conquer the kitchen.